Hi, I'm Erik Gustafson, Epic's director, and part of this Photovoice Iraq Picturing Change. We're right here at Epic headquarters. I'm joined by Ahmed Ali, a good friend. Thanks for joining us, Ahmed.
I'm happy to be here.
Ahmed Ali is an Iraq analyst. He's also originally from Iraq and the author of a number of reports. We've invited him here to talk a little bit about the project, about the education sector in Iraq. Really quickly, I want to give an update. We're now 33% funded, so thank you so much for all of those contributions. Keep those donations coming, keep sharing it with your friends. We are getting close to our goal, and we got to keep going on that. So let's talk about Iraq. You grew up in Iraq. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with the school system there? What can you tell us about how things are today?
Well, the educational system and the educational sector in Iraq is not in good shape. It begins with the facilities. Many schools in Iraq do not have the right facilities. Many buildings have to essentially go through 3 shifts a day with a primary school, a middle school, and then a high school going to the same building, same classrooms in the same day because there aren't enough buildings, essentially. That makes a classroom size about 35 to 40 students at least. And when that happens, the interaction and the learning process does not become enjoyable for neither the student nor the teacher. Therefore, it's one of the main handicaps for the Iraqi educational system. In addition to that, the curricula are not up to date, and therefore, when an Iraqi student graduates, they're not able to keep up with the modern developments, and they're not prepared to deal with the modern challenges that this world has.
With our project itself, Photovoice Iraq, I think that's going to be an interesting part of it, is that we're going to be working with teachers. It's not just working with 20 young people. We're actually going to be working with teachers. They will be the mentors, and there'll be one teacher assigned to up to 5 youth participants, and they'll be often working one-on-one. So I think it's going to be interesting to see that interaction and that opportunity for a student to really learn directly from a teacher rather than being overwhelmed in a classroom with 50 pupils around them.
Correct.
So the teachers being prepared today, what kind of education theory are they learning? I mean, when they're in front of their students, how are they envisioning themselves and how are they envisioning the student and the transfer of knowledge?
Normally, a teacher in Iraq has to have strong control over the classroom, and that control is not only about the behavior of the students, but in terms of the knowledge that gets transferred. And the teacher is expected to know very much everything about every subject. They're expected to know that. They are not expected to answer a question with "I do not know." They're expected to answer a question with I do have the answer to this question."
Interesting. It sounds like a more traditional approach or theory of education where the students are the empty slates, right? The empty vessels, and it's the teacher at the front of the classroom is all-knowing and then transmits the knowledge to the students. It's a very teacher-centered model of education.
I believe it is.
So what do you see in terms of the value of a project like Photovoice, which is a different approach? I mean, there'll be a one-to-one teacher-student. The project itself is very much student-centered. Do you see a project like that having value, and especially in terms of the conversation around education reform in Iraq?
Having said what we just said and discussed, Photovoice is a unique project because it allows the students to express themselves freely and initiate many concepts and many ideas on their own, as opposed to having a teacher tell them, this is the idea that we should discuss today. On the other hand, it's unique for the teachers as well, because they start seeing the world around them, and they start seeing the country through the eyes of the students. And this does not happen very often. And that's why I believe Photovoice could be critical to improve teacher-student relations in Iraq. and it's also a good project to bring Iraqi youth together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it certainly, I think, will bring some new ideas to the field of education in Iraq. So it's going to be interesting. And I think in a lot of ways, we're going to learn a lot in the process as well, working with teachers and even also coming to value some of their own approaches, some of their own solutions in the classroom. I mean, I can't imagine managing a class of 50 students. That would be an enormous challenge.
Yeah, I can tell it was always challenging for my teachers to control the classroom.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk a little bit about youth development. The basic idea of youth development is um, firing up the imagination, giving young people opportunities to learn new skills, to develop their talents. Um, do young people in Iraq today have those kinds of opportunities, especially outside of the classroom?
Very limited, and you talk to Iraqi youth and you hear them talk about what they want. They have very high expectations.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be able to keep up with the developments around them. They do have access to cell phones. They do have access to satellite televisions. Therefore, they see what's happening around the world.
Yeah, yeah.
And they would want to be part of that process. They do not want to be reactive to the process, but they want to be proactive in the process.
Interesting.
The biggest hurdle to them, however, is lack of opportunities and
Mm-hmm.
lack of options.
Yeah, yeah.
These two important aspects are very absent from their lives. What you get is normally you get it out from the classroom and what the teacher tells you.
I want to ask you now, kind of as an analyst based here in Washington, D.C., authoring reports, following events in Iraq. I know you often are corresponding with a lot of people there in the country. What do you see as the value of a project like this where, you basically have young people become the researchers and young people generating answers?
I think any product that comes out from Photovoice will be of value to the analytical community in Iraq itself to begin with, and then for analysts who are analyzing Iraq from outside of the country. Because you hear of anecdotal evidence about the change that has taken place in the country. Often that anecdotal evidence and perhaps photos sometimes come from major media establishments that may not have the ability to go into neighborhoods to observe changes on the ground. As an analyst, I would see an Iraqi youth walking around the neighborhood taking photos of different scenes as something very valuable to understanding what is happening inside their community and how they feel about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it will add a great deal of research to the conversation about Iraq and the evolving situation there and the future challenges in the country.
So we'll get youth perspectives without interpretation.
I believe that's a very good way of putting it.
So the last question to wrap up, EPIC is doing these projects, but we also have a long-term goal, a vision of establishing a summer youth institute that will serve young people and educators from across the region. Can you speak to do you see a need for those kinds of institutions?
Absolutely. The biggest need is, first of all, it empowers the youth themselves to take issues into their own hands and discuss issues that they may not be able to discuss in any other setting. The Iraqis in general and Iraqi youth discuss all sorts of issues on a daily basis.
Yeah, yeah.
However, when you have a discussion about those issues with your counterparts, let's say if you're from northern Iraq with your counterpart from southern Iraq, and if you're from southern Iraq, you have a discussion with your counterpart from northern Iraq, you'll enrich the knowledge and the level of information you have about each other. The end result will be better understanding for each other and the better appreciation for each other. That could eliminate future tensions and could illuminate some of the commonalities among Iraqis.
Excellent. Well, that's the vision, and you can see why we're excited about that, and we're excited to have all of you as part of that. So from all of us here at EPIC, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Ahmed, for the conversation.
Thank you.
and keep supporting Photovoice Iraq. Keep sharing it with your friends, and let's get to that goal. Thanks.